Hello YouTubers, my name's Chris and this is part 2 of my home theatre build. Today this sheet's going to go and we're going to build a real screen. Stay tuned. Alright, so let's talk about this screen I purchased. It's a 100-inch screen that I got off eBay for $285. Yes, you heard right, $285. It's made from full aluminium alloy with a thick 3.5-inch triple velvet black border. It's matte white with 1.1 gain, and being 100-inch, for those who live in Australia like myself, that means that the actual screen size is 1245 by 2210 millimeters. So on the width across the bottom of the screen is 2.2 meters and the height 1245 meters. And it's going to fill the space very nicely. Ideally, when you're buying a screen, you want to think about not it suiting the room or filling a wall. Rather, you need to think about the width of the screen and timesing that by 1.5 or 2. That is roughly the normal sort of sweet zone where you would want to sit. If you had a screen that was 150 inches in a room that is only 150 inches deep, let's say, guaranteed it's going to be too big, it's going to give you a headache, and the experience for everybody will not be very good. So just because you can get a big screen doesn't mean you should get a big screen. My wife actually would rather have gone for a 90-inch, but as I explained to her, the seating position for this 100-inch will be roughly between where my first row is and where the back row is. So let's talk about screen type, shall we? You can buy fixed frame screens like this one. There are motorized ones, which is what I had in the last house. Let's talk about the price of this versus my last one. Well, the last screen I had, which was a name brand, was $2,000. And let me tell you, it was 96 inches, and this is only, what, $285, so it's almost a tenth of the price. This screen is just as good as, in fact, it's better than the one I had for $2,000. So when you're buying a screen, don't think that name brand is going to get you a better screen. No, it's all about getting the right fabric, the right sort of material, the right type of screen for where you're putting it. So where you're going to put it, is it going to be something you want a portable screen that you can just put up and down on a tripod? Maybe you've got a games room that you're also someone's like doing outdoor cinema. That would mean that you need to go get yourself a portable screen. Motorized is great for places where like in my last house, you've got a TV and we had the screen come down in front of it for the big screen nights. Maybe it's a living area and it's the same sort of application whereby you don't want a screen always in your way, and it's great to be able to get it out of the way. But the best screen, and actually the cheapest screen to buy, is a fixed screen. Next topic to think about is screen gain. The screen gain is basically the amount of light that you throw at it, how much are you going to get back? So you've had a screen gain of 1, that means that 100% of the light you send at that is going to come back at you. If you get a screen gain of 2, it's going to double the amount of light back to you, and so forth. Getting a high screen gain was an absolute necessity about 2-3 years ago when 3D projectors were just coming out. The light output when you're doing 3D projection using active shutters means that one eye has a shutter turned on with the glasses, so the light is actually theoretically halved. It's not really, because we're talking like 1/120th of a second. It's actually off, and it repeats left, right, left, right, left, right. And that light is going to not be as bright when you're doing 3D projections. So you used to have to buy a 1.4, 1.6, even a 1.8 gain screen for 3D. But now projectors, good quality projectors that is, the ANSI lumens can go all the way up to 2000, 2400. So the need to actually get a high gain screen has absolutely diminished. And so the screen I purchased has got a 1.1, which is fine. That's really all I need. You can have different types of screens which are suitable for environments that have some ambient light in them. There's a little bit of light spillage where you can't control say the windows or lights in the room. It's a shared space, so you might want to get a higher gain screen and maybe even a grey screen, which would help with contrast and blacks. But the point is, gain is the higher you go with the gain, the more cylindrical the light cone that comes back to the viewer. If you're in a wide room, the people who are sitting to the left or to the right in a room with a very high gain screen, like a 2, they're going to actually see less light than the people who are sitting in the middle. It's if you remember the old days with the LCDs or plasmas, if you were off to one side, the screen looked terrible. Same is true with high gain. So just be a bit wary about getting a high gain screen. Only get it if you need it. Aspect ratio, I went here with a 16:9 screen. You've got a few different choices. I won't talk to 4:3 because let's face it, that's old school, old cinema. You can create some masks if you want to do a 4:3 screen. 16:9, which is what this is typical of most high-definition TV these days. Some cinematographers and filmmakers, they actually shoot in 16:9 or 1.85:1 ratio. And then you could also go to a 2.35:1 or a CinemaScope screen. But if you do a CinemaScope screen, there's two things to think about. One, to do it to complete true justice and to show the image as it was intended by the director or the cinematographer, you absolutely need to buy a CinemaScope lens. Last I looked, they're at least $5,000. So in this budget, in this build, way beyond my means. So I went with a 16:9, and what will happen when I project a 235 image onto that 16:9, I'm going to see a black bar at the top and the bottom. That's okay. You can very cheaply make some black masks to go at the top and the bottom to give you that pop effect, where the white and the black, that contrast. What you want is always a good black velvet border to absorb the light so that if there's any light spillage, the projected image is what you get back, and it will always help if you can create some true black borders by using a masking system. In a future project which I'll put up on YouTube, I'll show you how to do the cheap, easiest masking system available. There are motorized ones, there are screens that actually have it built into it. I mean, look, if your budget can afford it, go for it. But if you're like me and you're doing home theatre on a budget, hey, stay tuned, it'll be interesting to see. As you can see here, I'm now actually laying out the screen. On one side it's got a blackout fabric, which has actually been binded to the screen material itself. So that will stop any light coming through from the front projection to the back and then vice versa, which is always beneficial. And because I ran out of battery, you don't get to see the fun and games I had for the next hour trying to insert the dowel pieces of rod which went down all four sides of the screen. I kid you not, it was the most painful exercise of doing this whole screen. I think if the dowel rods weren't so bad, it would have only taken me about, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes to do this whole project. So after the rods go in, and you'll see me pick one up in a minute, you basically then stretch and pull the screen to tension it and make it all nice and taut and flat with these springs, which is what I'm spreading out right now. Nice simple system which surprisingly worked really, really well. I mean, of course it was going to work, but hey, never know these things. It's been a big week in this house. We've had two carpenters come around to give us some quotes in preparation for the work that I proposed for this room. Also, this next week, I hope to get an electrician out to start doing all the wiring for the projector, the speakers, amplifier, so on and so forth. There's one of those pieces of wood I was talking about, by the way. It's actually plastic. So, I cut the video there, as you can maybe kind of tell. So next week I'll put a video up on a Panasonic AE8000 that I've just ordered today. And here it is, the final end product. The screen's on the left hand wall there, just resting. On the back you can see here how the springs are actually holding it in place. And there it is, 100-inch fixed screen. Please let me know what you think. I'd like to know your thoughts, and thanks for watching, by the way. Comment, subscribe, it's a great idea. And next week I'll put the unboxing video on of the Panasonic AE8000, and stay good.